Today we'll be breaking down altcoins, what the market's going to look like. You don't want to miss it. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into the show. Let's get started. I do want to thank our sponsor today, and that's Salt Lending. You guys can get over and do a variety of lending around your crypto. And this is one of the strategies that people unlock wealth. And the reason is very simple. When you sell an asset, you take a capital gains in most cases. So a lot of people that are holding assets look at long-term holding, and the way they get access to that capital is they go take a loan on it. So you can unlock your wealth potential right there on your Bitcoin. Over on Salt Lending, just visit saltlending.com. Use our link down below. It's going to help us out and hopefully get you guys into maybe taking your next step into how to actually use your assets going forward. Let's bring in Evan Aldo, who, of course, comes in on the altcoin shows, which, of course, we get a chance to break down a lot of tokens today. Great to see you, Evan. How are you?
Always an honor to be on. I'm doing great.
Excellent.
Market's looking good.
Yeah, market has been hot, and there are many reasons for that. Obviously, the Fed rate cut was one of the biggest. One of the things that we're starting to watch right now is U.S. mortgage demand is starting to surge about 30% over the last week. The question, I think, and I was talking to a real estate guy this morning, is the 5% mortgage. If he said that if we get back to the 5% mortgage, their expectation is an absolute housing boom, because that would unleash a lot of capital, people going into the market, selling their homes again, and then, of course, possibly even getting more people into a mortgage maybe for the first time. Granted, those people are much older, but what was your opinion on the quarter point move?
So yeah, very expected. Nothing that we didn't expect. I think the big thing that we want to look at here is when they cut last year, that's when the DXY bottomed out and that started to come up. So same thing so far. The DXY is seeing a bounce. The other thing that happened too is mortgage rates did come up after they had that first rate cut last time. It could be different this time, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, that 5% that you're looking for, I hope you see that, in 6 months or 3 months, but it could be a lot longer potentially to see an actual 5% 30-year mortgage.
Are you anticipating that we'll get the 2 more cuts like what a lot of people are looking at right now?
In terms of the odds, yes. And I think that the significant thing we got to see is it's looking exactly how it looked at the end of 2024. And then what happened in January of this year, that's when you saw the next pause. What was that? That was a big sell signal and the market started to come down. So history is not going to be exactly how it was. But, if you do see a pause in January, which it looks likely you probably will, that could be a nice sell signal in the 4-year cycle, especially.
So your consideration is that maybe end of year is the last part of this run and possibly an exit and waiting for a re-entry in January and February?
Well, re-entry would be if history repeats, a re-entry would be a little bit later. I would be looking at October, based on what we've seen for a potential bottom. But, 18 months is where Bitcoin has always topped after the Bitcoin halving. That would bring us to a Bitcoin top in October. I do think alts should last another month, similar to 2017 into 2018. It's looked a lot more like that cycle in a lot of ways. So if I had a guess here, educated guess, November top for potentially ETH and a lot of alts, November, December top with the October top for potentially Bitcoin.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right, well, we're going to get into all the charts today for you guys. We've got a lot of altcoins. And then we also are going to take a look at our portfolio, our combined portfolio Evan and I put together, see how it's performing, and in general, get a play on whether or not we want to make some moves. Let me go to a clip real quick, because this is over on CNBC. Markets are at an inflection point. Let's take a look at SOT 1.
Do you think we're overvalued like David Tepper?
Yeah, I mean, valuations are clearly stretched. They're high, they're frothy. It's kind of whatever you want to call it. I mean, if you're entering the market right now, you're paying up. And the S&P is trading at multiples we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, the index has become so top heavy. So to me, I think that's just kind of a sign of we're at this inflection point where leadership could start broadening and beyond just the mega caps into small caps and maybe some other rate sensitive type areas. You're seeing investors look for areas of the market that haven't already been bid up to death, like to extremes, like large caps and some of the mega caps have, and small caps are still trading at a discount to large cap.
All right, so when you look at that right now and you consider this data, which is the top 1% of U.S. earners now have more wealth than the entire middle class, This is interesting because goes back to my whole theory of how this cycle will play out, and it's the haves versus the haves in terms of investing. Do you think we're going to see retail come into the market again, especially around the fact that we could see some movement here on altcoins? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think you'll see retail at least come in as much as they came in at the end of 2023, and quarter four of 2023 was really good. And then in the quarter four of 2024. So I think we'll at least see that, which would allude to a mini altcoin season, some type of mini altcoin season. So that's kind of the minimum I would think. And now the main thing that I would guess would strengthen that argument where you won't see retail come in for a crazy altcoin season like back in 2021 is because we're still technically in quantitative tightening. And I don't know exactly, could be the next meeting that's over, could maybe you don't see that officially over until next year. So I think that's the one thing that's really keeping it back for a lot of your smaller cap altcoins right now.
Are you saying that there could be no altcoin Christmas?
No, but I'm saying worst case scenario is it will be like last Christmas, which was a good Christmas.
It was
nothing,
a good Christmas.
nothing.
But it wasn't the blow off top, in terms of some of these tokens going 10x in a period of 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, I mean, let's be real. If you look at history, I mean, most altcoins don't make a new all-time high from the previous cycle. Only so many do every cycle. So,
which is one of the reasons of our strategy in our portfolio that we're using. So, but we got a lot to talk about there. Small caps hitting all-time high for the first time since 2024. This was back in November. Again, so we saw that big dip. Now a retracement back in here on terms of small caps, which kind of is in reality a comparison to risk assets when you look at altcoins. And the likelihood of that is going to be kind of in line with what you're talking about, Evan. Let's jump over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin price forecast now eyeing a 110 target. Another 4.9 trillion in options are expiring. But if you look at Bitcoin as a whole, on your chart right now, how would you play Bitcoin into the end of the year?
So right now, when you look at Bitcoin, I don't think there's going to be like too much happening. And that's kind of what you want to see. You want to see Bitcoin kind of go sideways as ETH and altcoins kind of take over. And as we'll talk about in a little bit, obviously some altcoins are starting to run right now. So yeah, the 110, it's doable. I would think it's maybe kind of a wake me up when September ends kind of situation. I think it will be just kind of a boring month without too much happening. Got the nice trigger wave here. I mean, your weekly looks pretty good for continuation, but that could take a few weeks to play out. You may not see that jump up until, October. So, or to October, end of October, that area. I would be looking at somewhere between 130 all the way up to 154 for a market cycle peak if it does get more extended. But it's a little tough to say right now, but it's kind of just a boring situation here. I mean, it's just bouncing around. The daily would tell you you'd probably come back, maybe hit that 112, 108 target even, and then potentially, have a run in October that a lot of people like to say. So a situation like this into October, somewhere between, 129, if things get really crazy, maybe that 140, these areas, and that would allude to the 4-year cycle and that 18 months after the Bitcoin halving peak that I was saying. So that's my educated guess here, somewhere between 130 all the way up to 154, probably end of October, maybe extended into November.
Would that be your top for this cycle is 154 on Bitcoin?
Yeah, somewhere 130 to 154 is my range. Yeah.
Okay. Let's jump over to Ethereum. Supply shock is real. Exchange reserves just hit the lowest level in years. Every dip is bought. Whales and institutions. Less Ethereum on exchanges is less to sell. More scarcity equals upside. I'm kind of in agreement with this, but if you look at ETH's movement, it's been, again, sideways for a few weeks. So is ETH still got a life to run here, or do you feel like it may lag and we could see more explosion on projects like Solana and even Avalanche, which we've talked about? What are your thoughts?
I think ETH will move, but I think Avalanche and a lot of these other ones will probably outperform it for the next few months. And if we look at the ETH chart right here, let me get it up right there. If we look at the ETH chart, just bouncing around, very boring. I think eventually here you're going to break upward to, my big target, which is at around, the big target would be 5,500, that area right around the big spiral line right here. If September ends up being kind of that boring month or whatever, I mean, let's be real, you could come break down at 3,800, scare a lot of people away. I do think if you do break bearishly, it's not going to last too long. You're going to have a nice recovery and then potentially get up in October 5,600. And then, within a month after that, hopefully hit your 7,300 area. But, obviously compared to a lot of altcoins, 4,400 to 7,300, if you see a 7,300 Ethereum from where we are right now, you'd probably see a double for AVAX. You'd probably see a $400, Solana. So in all likelihood, a lot of those should outperform Ethereum in the coming months.
Okay, all right. Well, speaking of Avalanche, token reclaims the top 20 spot. Actually, it's number 13, but there's a lot of USD supply expansion that's coming within it. And a couple of points within this, rallied over 35, even though it did retrace a little bit. We'll talk about in a second on the chart. C-Chain offers some highest yields. That's a big deal on the Aave vaults, especially for the European holders out there. And open interest is also close to its peak, 924 million, with over 73% of traders picking a long position on Avalanche right now. So if you look at Avalanche and you see where they are on CoinMarketCap, I'll zoom in on that right there, holding the number 13 slot, jumping SWE right there. The question is do you rotate Avalanche and SWE, or do you kind of look at maybe a trifecta here with taking some profits on either Solana or Ethereum? If you didn't have liquid to play, how would you manage that out right now if you look at the Avalanche chart?
So in all likelihood, Avalanche probably will continue to outperform Ethereum. And now we'll start with the Avalanche chart, Avalanche versus US dollar. It's probably going to break upward and continue upward to at least $48 within the month. I would say that's a pretty safe bet. If you can hold $48, I think there's a really good shot at a run up into 100 by end of year, I would say. And that would be a big point there. So from where we are right now, we're at 33, 200% gain. It's about a 3x from where we are right now, which is going to be really huge. Now, if you look at AVAX versus ETH, and this is the chart I looked at when I was really bullish on the AVAX ETH evaluation, look at the bottom you saw in September of 2023, and then you saw a giant run up against Ethereum all the way into December of 23. My guess is that you will see something similar here, hopefully at least up to these areas. So if you, sorry about that, AVAX ETH, let me just get it back up there. Something similar to that, the percentage would be 140% from where we are right now. So I think there's a good bet right there to make.
Okay, so you've got a good bet there on Avalanche. I'm looking at Avalanche holding the 13 spot right now, 14 bill. Do you think this has a shot to run into the top 10? I mean, that would be a big move, but do you think it has a shot to run into the top 10, maybe go in against Cardano?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know the math. It's hard to do the math in my head, but yeah, I think there's a good shot. I think Cardano will probably go up as well. You got a good shot at that doubling too. Hyperliquid, maybe that'll be not as good. You could bypass that.
Chainlink setting right there at 12. Yeah, it looks like it's about to flip Chainlink. This could happen any time now. So interesting. Avalanche could definitely be on the move here. What about if you were to look at it versus Sui? And a couple of points right here. Sui Play did a launch in Seoul, which is essentially on the gaming side of things. But they also have some other things. If you look at just the TVL on Sui right now, it is starting to move. You can kind of see it's almost back up to its all-time high, so a little over 3 billion. My curious thing is when you look further into it, some of the protocols right there, Sui Lend. Maybe does this start to open things up? Do we see Sui as an alternate play out? If you're playing Avalanche, and you say, okay, I need one more token, would it be Sui or Solana? How would you rotate that?
Let's take a look. Let me show you.
Okay,
let me think aloud here. So the first thing we'll look at is AVAX versus Sui. Now, AVAX has bled a lot versus Sui, down 92% against Sui, and now kind of hitting a bottom in the next few months. Does this reverse? Hard to say, but if you're looking at the trend, Sui's got a good shot of continuing to outperform AVAX. Maybe you just roll over. Now, If we look at, let's say, SWE versus Solana here, let's see, that's another interesting one. So that's kind of coming back down versus Solana here. It's been kind of choppy in that area since the last year. So just bouncing around. Oh man, that's a tough question. That's a tough question. The way I would look at it is I think there's a lot of potential for, all of these. And if we look at SWE itself, I think you got a good shot of getting up to $7, maybe up to $10. I kind of feel like though, AVAX has a better shot out of all three, Solana, SWE, AVAX. I think AVAX has the absolute best shot at getting a 3x based on the chart. So if I had to pick one, I would definitely pick AVAX, but diversification usually wins in these games. You know what I mean?
Well, that's right. Diversification wins. And I think when you look at just the package of those three right now, Avalanche back in the conversation because SWE and Solana have been beasts this year in terms of performance. Solana now trading way up, and I think there's still some opportunity. We think 300 by end of year. What is your target right now in Solana by end of year?
400. I'm looking at,
okay.
Definitely. I think you get 400. I mean, it's not even a double from where we are right now. So I think 400 is a good shot. Yeah.
Let's talk about one that has been an outlier, and that is Polkadot. A couple of things that is and has changed is the cap supply. That's a new wrinkle. They're deploying smart contracts on Polkadot. You've got some DeFi builders programs that are launching. There's a lot of good things here that show up now, and Polkadot has been a token that has been very suppressed, and who knows, there's maybe an outside chance that it still has an angle on the TikTok deal, which is kind of what our original thought was. But what is your position right now on Polkadot?
I think Polkadot's got a good shot of running up. And I mean, if you look at the chart right now, you're getting a green Heikin-Ashi candle on the monthly right here. Rare bullish sign. Now, I would say, if you just look at what we've done, in all likelihood, you should be able to run back up to $9 to $11 is a good shot. If you can break above those points, and that's a pretty big if given the price action. I mean, this had a low just in June. So a very, very depressed, dead in some ways coin, unfortunately. But I think you got a good shot of running up to $9, which is a nice double from here. If you can break above that, $17 could be on the table. I don't really think, unless you get some crazy good news, and a lot of people really jump on this, I don't think you would go above like that $7 or $19 area. But if you're trying to have a nice double, I think Polkadot is a good shot right here, up to $9. So yeah.
All right, listen, if you guys are not over checking out Evan's channel, go over to Evan Aldo on YouTube. You guys can join. He is now at 21,000 subscribers. Evan, you are in the big leagues now, my man. You're in the big leagues. You know that, right? You're like a thing now. So congratulations. Yeah. You're a thing.
You. Appreciate it. Yeah.
I love it. And of course, Evan gives you a bunch of trading tutorials over there. You can get in his course, all that good stuff. Use our code. We always drop a code for Evan's courses down there. Before we get into our portfolio, because we've selected a portfolio. If you guys have been watching the channel very long, back in July, Evan and I said, let's build a $100,000 portfolio and watch this thing run. Now, we're going to show that to you here in a moment. And then we're going to make some decisions, Evan. So I want you to be thinking about it, okay? But before we do that, I want to hit on to gold and silver. Gold is absolutely outperforming right now. Okay, that's a long-term store of asset. Maybe it goes up a little bit from here, but can gold continue? Again, many people would argue, hey, gold's going to be tokenized gold. It's going to be the new evolution of stablecoin. But silver, man, this could be in the charts. Do you have any plans on any precious metals right now?
So, I mean, I think crypto's better, I like crypto right now overall, but when I look at the gold and silver charts, I think they will continue upward a little bit more here. Let's just start with gold, what I think will happen. I mean, you got a good shot of running up to 4,000 by the end of the year. That's kind of my goal. You're at 3,600, maybe up to 4,000 with everything happening. And then I kind of think you'll follow a lot of things and potentially see like some type of pullback back to kind of this big area that we've been at, like 3,300 sometime in 2026, maybe 20% pullback here. So, I mean, you've been up a lot. You're going to get a pullback at some point. Now, if the question is gold versus silver, let's look at that chart. generally gold has been kind of outperforming it, but if you can kind of get a bottom, or if you could kind of get a bottom or try to have silver try to outperform it here, this continuing downward. But I'd be careful. I think in the short term, though, a lot of people are talking about silver potentially making a new all-time high, which it's really close to doing so. But if I had to guess here, you make this new all-time high towards the end of this year, and you get a nice kind of pullback here. A lot of people get excited. Then you get a 20 to 30% pullback for silver. So I don't think silver is the main play over gold until a few more years. Like, I don't think gold and silver are really, really going to shine until the 2030s. Like, that's like, it's not going to shine until the next recession, which is, I don't think, going to be until somewhere between 2028 to 2032. So I don't think this is the decade for
Not the plan. That's a good one. One more token I want to look at is Axelar. Axelar Network, of course, the XRPL, Axelar, powerful combo. Their partnership there. We've had Georgios on the show before, but in general, if you look at the chart right here, recently it's had a little bit of a run up, about 15% currently, and that's after it came off of yesterday, which was a pretty big retracement. However, sentiment, at least on our indicator tool, is still very, very positive on Axelar right now. How would you trade Axelar right now? Is this one that you would look at maybe an upside?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential upside for it. I mean, it's a riskier play, definitely. But when you look at the Axelar chart right here, you are hitting a big point. It's kind of similar to that Polkadot chart, like a lot of bullish things, but it kind of keeps, they don't play out. Usually you have a bull div, which is huge on the 3-week. A lot of really good stuff here. I think you got a good shot of running back up to like 63 cents, which would be a double, or, a triple up to like 85 cents here. So I think you got a good shot. Like, how I would play this is I would buy and put a stop loss like at 26 cents or something, and try to run this up for like a 2 or 3x. That's what I'd be looking at for this. So yeah.
There you go. I like it. Evan, let's jump over to our portfolio. This is the Aldo Alts portfolio, performing fairly well. We're up about 13% right now. ETH is our performer. Our worst performer, though, is Tau coming in, which, by the way, has shuffled some of the tokens. I'll go to profit loss right here. There's our list, guys. If you want to kind of get some screenshots of this, this is what our plays were. Ethereum, Solana, let's go by holdings versus profit loss. Ethereum was our big play. Solana was our number 2. Arbitrum we came in with. Avalanche, Chainlink, Injective, Aave, Jupiter. This, of course, is for the audio podcast. You guys are not watching this, but and then BitTensor Tau, which started to lose, but I still think I'm very confident about Tau. I still like BitTensor going forward. Pudgy Penguins made a turnaround, has reclaimed profitability. Uniswap is struggling a little bit right now. Cardano is up. And then Kronos, nice play right now, 57% up on our play. I think that might be our best by profit. And then Near Protocol, Aldo, and Sui coming in. So right now, if you look at that mixture, is there any moves that we would make right now? Here we are, middle of September. We've talked about this portfolio to exit in October. Any interim plays that we would make today?
Man, it just depends how much risk. I mean, the things that come to mind is obviously reallocating some ETH, some Solana into like AVAX, Chainlink. Those two I would look at it. Reallocating, yeah. AVAX, Chainlink are ones that are reallocating. Let's see.
We got 24.
I would maybe, we could put 5K of that into AVAX,
Okay. So that would take us up to 13, almost 14.
500, yeah, something of that nature, maybe.
Okay,
so
repeat that.
20K.
Repeat that.
Sorry, yeah. I would say keep the ETH holding at 20K, and let's put 4,600 split between AVAX and Chainlink, and then maybe the Solana holding. Let's take out like 3K and put 1,500 into AVAX and 1,500 into Chainlink.
All right, so Chainlink, we're going to improve our positions on Chainlink and Avalanche. We'll give you guys an update of how this is performing so far. We're up 14% on this. We anticipate we're going to exit this sometime in October. And we're trying to at least. Well, okay, maybe later.
My view is to DCA out from October 1st to December 31st.
Okay, sure. Okay, that's what I meant. Starting our exits in October.
Sure.
So all the way through the end of the year. But we're going to double this portfolio, at least. We may triple it, is what I'm hoping for. We'll see how this plays out. I think we're going to need to have some more aggressive moves, though, Evan. I think we're going to have to take some more aggressive moves in taking profits and getting in some riskier tokens. I'm just saying. That's the DGen Paul talking there.
For a double, I don't think so. For a triple or more, maybe. Yeah.
Well, we got some capital to play with here, man. We could deploy like 20K right now. If we could reposition that bottom 20K and move that into a really, see, there's the gambler. That's the gambler. Do not follow this, guys. Do not follow what Ev and I are doing, because this is us having fun and a little bit of degeneracy. I'm going to hit you on email or a text, and we'll figure this out over the weekend, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, man. All right, listen, Evan, it's been great seeing you. We'll have you back here and take a look hopefully when Solana's hitting 300 next week.
Well, 2 weeks. 2 weeks for that.
2 weeks, okay.
We'll see you, Jamal. Thanks so much.
2 weeks on Solana. Thanks a lot for stopping in. We appreciate it.
It was an honor. Thanks so much, Paul. Bye.
All right, you guys get in on the Diamond Circle. It's our own private group, very easy to join, and it's free. Click the link down below. You guys can get my personal email out to you to kind of talk about these things. And of course, follow me on X @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on The Paul Barron Show.